Okay, it's the new 2018 Mac Mini. Now, I've been really looking forward to this one. I was really surprised at the specs that they brought out. This is the i7 one. It's going to have 64 gig of RAM and a ton of SSD storage in it. So I'm planning on using it as a headless server to run all my virtualization stuff. And I have to say, the reason I really wanted it is because I looked at the spec of the processor. So this is the 6-core i7. And if it's the processor I think it is, it's probably only about 20-25% slower than my iMac Pro, which for this amount of money is a bit of a bargain. So let's go have a look at the performance of it. And here we go, I have this Mac Mini set up. Now it's taken me a few days longer than I expected. I had some work drop that I had to get dealt with, you know how it is. But it's all set up and it's configured for how I'm going to use it, which is effectively as a virtualization server. It's basically going to run a ton of things that I need just to keep running in the background and take the load off some of my other kit. So let's have a look and see which Mac Mini it is. There we go. You can see it's the Mac Mini 2018. It's got the upgraded 3.2 GHz Intel i7 in it. That's the 6-core unit. I've also upgraded the RAM from the base 8 gig I think it comes with, and I've put 32 gig in it. Now, the thing that's interesting about the memory, there's only 2 slots in there. Now, I thought for whatever reason that it had 4, so I know the unit supports 64 gig of RAM, but of course it means you're going to have to get 2 32 gig sticks, and I haven't been able to find any as yet. But so this doesn't quite have as much memory as I hope to have in it for now, but there you go. Now the upgrade process, I'm not going to cover that here. There's plenty of videos out there showing you how to do it. I will say that if you're patient and have a basic exposure to you know, taking computers apart, it's not that difficult to do. The only thing I would say is make sure you have the right kit to do it. Now, I use one of the iFixit kits, and I'll link to the one that I use below. Don't try and hack it would be my advice, because there are some cables in there that are a little bit tricky to get at, and if you get that wrong, you're going to have an expensive doorstop. So what about performance? Well, let's have a look. I did some comparative benchmarks, so let's open that up. Let's get it so we can see it, and just scale it up a little bit. Now, these are the benchmarks of pretty much all my current kit. Well, not all of it, but most of it anyway. So I've run the Geekbench 4 benchmarks as well as the Cinebench ones. As you'd expect, you see the iMac Pro on top there by quite some margin. Below that, and it surprised me a little bit, was the Mac Mini. Now look at the performance there of the single and the multi-core. It's very impressive. It's even faster than my i9 MacBook Pro. The only place it seems to suffer, of course, is the graphics. So if you have a look at that, they seem to be quite down. But to be honest, I'm not really concerned with that. I don't plan on doing any video intense stuff on this machine. It's basically going to be to run virtual machines, so I'm not that worried about that. And just for the laughs and just to give some people on YouTube something to shout about, I've included the stats for my Surface Book 2 as well, right down the bottom there. Now, in general use, what I found is there's no real performance difference between this and my iMac Pro. Honestly, using they both feel very, very similar. I think where the iMac Pro really starts to leverage itself though, of course, is when I've got a lot more things going on. What I find in the Pro is I can have a ton of things going in it and the performance is maintained. Whereas with this, it's not quite as good as that. So it doesn't scale out quite so well, but bear in mind the price difference between the two. So my experience of the Mac Mini so far has been very impressive. So let's have a look at some of the real world stuff. Let's start with the disk speed test. Now bear in mind I am actually recording with QuickTime at the moment, so it does have an impact on the drive performance, but let's run a test. This has the T2 chip in it, which deals with all the encryption. And as you can see, the drive in there is really, really quick. Again, it's kind of similar in speed to what I'm seeing in my iMac Pro. So it's very, very impressive stuff. So how does it look? Well, like I say, I use it for virtualization for the most part. So let's have a look at virtual machine. Now this has got Parallels on it for now. So let's fire up Parallels. I've got a ton of virtual machines in here at the moment. So let's have a look at my Windows 10 test client. Firstly, let's just look at the specs of it. Right, so at the minute I've got 12 processors allocated. Now, of course, this machine doesn't have 12 processors. What it is, it's 6 cores with hyper-threading. So I'm just going to knock that down. I'm just going to take it to 3. And if we look at the memory, it's also got 16 gig allocated. I'm going to shrink that a bit as well and just give it 8 gig of RAM. So let's have a look and see what the performance of this is like. There we go. That didn't take too long at all. Let's get logged in. My domain controller isn't up at the moment, so I wouldn't be surprised if this would be a bit faster if it was. And there we go. There's our Windows 10 machine. So if we have a quick look at the performance specs, it should be what we've set. CPU, there you go. We've got our 3 virtual cores, and we've got our 8 gig of RAM. Now, this is all running on the internal SSD. Like I say, it's very, very quick. And just to show you what I mean, let's copy something to the hard drive here. In fact, let me just rename the old one and I'll recopy this. So what I'm going to do is just drag something from the desktop and just copy it to the C drive. Now that from the desktop is actually coming from the Mac hard drive into the virtual machine. There you go. It's pretty impressive. The performance is very fluid. Same if we run any of the Office apps down here. Let's fire up Word. Get Excel running. And let's also fire up PowerPoint. I tell you, honestly, it feels just as fast as my Surface Book 2 does. And that's, of course, a real physical machine. And also, Windows in this running as Windows 10, it feels very similar to my iMac Pro. The only difference, of course, in the iMac Pro is it's a lot more capable. So I tend to have all my video processing in the background while I'm also running Windows 10. I probably wouldn't do that on this machine. Now, given the advantage of the performance on this, you'd imagine things like snapshotting would be quite amazing. So let's have a look at this. I'm going to take a snapshot. Let's call it test snapshot. There you go, and it's done. Took no time at all. Now, of course, taking the snapshot is usually pretty fast. It's usually restoring them that takes a bit of time. So let's do something. Let me, for example, just remove Office from this machine. I won't make you sit through this, but what I'm going to do is basically just remove Office and then we'll restore that snapshot that we've just taken. So Office has been removed from this machine now. Didn't show it because it's not very interesting. But what I'm going to do now is just restore that snapshot so you can see what's involved. So I'm going to go to the snapshot list. You can see the test snapshot that I took a few minutes ago, and let's restore it. And there we go. We're done. As you can see, it's very, very impressive. It's very, very quick. And it is totally workable. So let's get this machine shut down. I also have Office on the local machine. I've always found Office on the Mac a little bit sluggish to get started, but let's fire that up. There's Word, for example. We get Excel running and PowerPoint. There we go, it's all running. So as you can see, it is pretty quick. Now, I'm going to use this as a virtualization machine. So just to show you how effective it is, my test lab has a domain controller. It's got currently a remote access server. It's also got Skype for Business 2019 in it, a Windows 10 machine, and also Mac OS. So let's fire up our Mac OS machine. You can ignore that error about the drive there. I've got some dodgy formatted drive attached to this virtual machine. So there's our Mac OS machine. So let's get that logged in if I can remember the password. Now while that's running, what we can also do is fire up all these other virtual machines. So let me fire up my domain controller. Now that was suspended, to be fair, so that shouldn't take too long to fire up. Same with my remote access server in a massive window there, so let's shrink that down a bit. And also let's fire up our Windows 10 machine. The thing that's interesting is if you look at the performance stats up here, you'll see that the processor is hardly doing anything during this whole piece of operation. You'll see that the memory is starting to fill up, which is one of the reasons I want 64 gig on this, because I've got another few virtual machines to fire up. This is our virtual Mac machine. So you see there, it's the same version of Mac OS. It's only got 4 gig of RAM allocated, and I think I've only put a couple of cores in this one as well. So, as you can see, it's very, very usable. Now, for such a small machine, I have to say I'm really, really impressed with the performance of it. Now, I plan on setting it up as effectively a small headerless server, which is going to run the virtual machines that I have on all the time, and it's also got a video conversion queue on there, so I can copy something to a certain drive, and it gets automatically converted to a standard format I use for my videos. But as you can see, this is a spectacularly good machine. Now I'm just going to close these units down and we're just going to suspend them. So my impression of this machine so far, very, very fast, very, very capable, far faster than I was expecting. I think it's a great bit of kit. I'm starting to regret having not gone for the 10 gig Ethernet adapter, because I'm starting to think that my home network might be upgraded to 10 gig at some point. Now, you might think that's overkill, but because of where I live, I get really good internet. So to give you an idea, my internet's busy at the minute, so it should be faster, but you'll see my point. Yeah, so perhaps 10 gig adapter would have been the right thing to go for. Anyway, I hope you found that vaguely interesting or useful. My findings is it's everything I expected and more. It's a hell of an upgrade to my previous Gen Mac Mini. My previous Gen Mac Mini actually has been relegated to just being used for Zwift, the bike training app. Anyway, if you've got any questions or you want to ask anything about it, then of course just drop me a line and or mention it in the comments, and I'll try and answer them for you. No! Shut it now.